Well, hello there. Sion Batson here from Sion Batson Tutoring, and in this video, I will be teaching you how to convert fractions to decimals. A very important concept for 5th grade students, 6th grade students, 7th grade students, and GED students. So let us go. Now, this exercise is out of my 5th grade math workbook, You Can Master 5th Grade Math, Next Generation Learning Standards, and my 7th grade math workbook, You Can Master 7th Grade Math, Next Generation Learning Standards. Now, both books are excellent resources for homeschooling, virtual learning, extra practice at home, homework help, and state test prep. Each book is filled with very simple and easy to follow notes and explanations, step-by-step examples, guided examples, and tons of practice problems and answers. So if you have a 5th grader or a 7th grader, I would highly recommend that you get them a copy. You can get your copies from Amazon or from my website, www.sbatsonacademy.com. Now, to our exercise. To convert a fraction to a decimal, the rule says we should divide the numerator by the denominator. That's it. It's a very simple rule. If you want to convert a fraction to a decimal, you will simply divide the fraction's numerator by the fraction's denominator. How is that? It's very simple. It's very straightforward. Now, when we're dividing, we will use long division to help us. So far, so good? Perfect. Now, I have some extra notes here for you, so take a walk with me. If you are unable to divide because the denominator is bigger than the numerator, or because there is a remainder, don't panic. We have options. Your first option will be to add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. If there is already a decimal point, we will simply add a 0 to the numerator, then continue dividing. The goal is to divide until our remainder is 0. So whenever you are unable to divide, you have two options, yes? First, you can add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator, then continue dividing. If there is already a decimal point, you will only add a 0 to the numerator, then continue dividing. We want to divide until the remainder is 0. How are you feeling? Come on, come on, come on. This is fun stuff, exciting stuff. How are you feeling? Super. Now, let's get the party started. Come on. So our first example here, we want to convert 4/5 to a decimal. So the rule says we will simply divide the fraction's numerator by the fraction's denominator. Remember also, we will use long division to help us divide. Yes? So let's draw our house. Now, when we draw our house, the denominator will always go outside, and the numerator will go inside. So far so good? Now, just in case you forgot the steps For long division, I got you. They're right here. When you're using long division, you will divide first, then multiply, then subtract, then bring down. When you bring down, you only bring down one digit at a time. Yes? All right, now, let's get the party started. If you want to, as well, before I begin dividing, you can list the multiples for the denominator at the side to help you divide. Make life easier. So we list some multiples for 5 here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. We can stop at 40. Yes? Now, let's divide. The first step is to divide. How many times can 5 go into 4? 5 cannot go into 4 because 5 is bigger than 4. And a bigger number cannot go into a smaller number. So 5 can go into 4 0 times, or 5 cannot go into 4. So we are unable to divide here because the denominator is bigger than the numerator. But we have options. That's the good news. Our first option is always to add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator, then continue dividing. So here, you will add a decimal point and a 0. Yes? After adding your point and your 0, you always want to make sure that you put a point directly above the point in your dividend, or the point that's in the house. You want to put a point directly above it. Yes? So you will have a point in its correct place in your answer. Yes? Now, after adding the 0, what do we have? We can look at our numerator, or our dividend. We can look at it now as being 40. Yes? So we will now divide and ask ourselves, how many times can 5 go into 40? 5 can go into 40 8 times. Now, if you aren't sure, we can use our multiples to help us. We will count until we get to 40. Let's see how many times we will have to count until we get to 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 5 can go into 40 8 times. We'll put our 8 above the 0. After we divide, we have to multiply. 5 times 8 is 40. So far, so good. After we multiply, we are going to subtract. We have 0 take 0 is 0, and 4 take 4 is 0. After we subtract, we're supposed to bring down the next number that's in the numerator, or the next number that's in the dividend. But we have no more numbers to bring down here. So we are done. Also, if you see, our remainder is 0. So we're definitely done. Yes? So our answer is 0.8, or 8 tenths. So 4/5 converted to a decimal is 0.8, or 8 tenths. How is that? It's very simple stuff. It's very fun stuff. How are you feeling? Come on. Come on, let's get pumped. Let's get pumped. Let's get pumped. Now, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome to the party. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Now, kindly click on the subscribe button and turn your notifications on so that you can be notified every time I post a fun, exciting, and easy to follow math tutorial. Yes? All right, now let's keep the party going. Let's do, this is a popular one here. We want to convert 3/4 to a decimal. Yes? Again, what does the rule say? We will simply divide the fractions numerator by the fractions denominator. So let's draw our house. We draw our house here. Remember, when we're dividing, we will use long division to help us. Yes? All right. The denominator always goes outside the house, and the numerator goes inside the house. So far, so good? All right. Now, before you begin dividing, remember, we can always use the multiples of the denominator to help us. Yes? To make life easier, if you want to, you can list the multiples: 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. We can stop there for now. Yeah? Now, let's divide. How many times can 4 go into 3? Well, 0 times. Why? Because 4 is bigger than 3, and a bigger number cannot go into a smaller number. So, we have a problem. We are unable to divide. But don't panic, because we have options. Your first option is to add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator. Yes? So we'll add a decimal point and a 0. And remember, you always want to make sure you put a decimal point directly above the one you put in the numerator. You want to make sure you keep this decimal point in your answer. Yes? Now, after adding the point and the 0, our numerator, or the dividend, now looks like what? 30. So let's keep dividing then. How many times can 4 go into 30? Well, 4 can go into 30 7 times. But if you aren't sure, you can use your multiples to help you. Yes? Now, if you look at your list, I don't see 30. Oops. But 30 will be between 28 and 32. So we will count all the multiples that come before 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your multiples are your best friend. Yes? So 4 can go into 30 7 times. So far, so good? Super! Now, after dividing, we are going to multiply. 4 times 7 will give us 28. After you multiply, you are going to subtract. Notice how I'm going step by step. Yes? If I subtract here, I'll borrow 1 from the 3, 2 is left. 10 take 8 will give me 2. And 2 take 2 will give me 0. So we have 2, which is our remainder, because we have no more numbers to bring down. So this 2 is our remainder. Oops, what should we do? Remember, our goal is to divide until the remainder is 0. So whenever there is a remainder, we have options. We can add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. If there's already a decimal point, we'll only add a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. Since there is a decimal point here already, we'll add a 0 and continue dividing. After adding the 0, look what we got now. At 20, so we can divide. How many times can 4 go into 20? 5 times. If you aren't sure, we can always use our list of multiples here to help us. 20 is right here. So we will count until we get to 20 to figure out how many times 4 can go into 20. Let's count. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So 4 can go into 20 5 times. After dividing, we multiply. 4 times 5 will give us 20. After multiplying, we subtract. Yes? 0, 0. So look at our remainder now. Our remainder is 0. So we are done. So our final answer is 0.75 or 75 hundredths. So 3/4 converted to a decimal is 0.75 or 75 hundredths. How are you feeling? Come on, man. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Now, if you need to review your long division, I got you. I did 2 very detailed step-by-step videos that will help you master the concept of long division. Watch those videos if necessary. Yes? Master the skill, then come back and join us. But this is fun stuff. Ooh, this is exciting stuff. I hope you guys are getting pumped. I hope you guys are pumped up by now. Yeah, fun stuff. This is fun stuff. All right. Let's do 5/8. Oh, look at this one here. Yes, we want to convert 5/8 to a decimal. So again, we are going to go by the rule. Yes, the rule says if you want to convert a fraction to a decimal, you will simply divide the fraction's numerator by the fraction's denominator. Yes? So, let's divide. Let's draw our house. After drawing your house, remember the denominator always go outside and the numerator goes inside. Before you begin to divide, you can always list the multiples of the denominator to help you, just to be safe. So let's list some multiples here for the denominator. The multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, yes, 56, yes, 64, 72, 80. We can stop there. I'm just having fun, right? So, also remember when we divide, we're going to use long division to help us. Let's divide. How many times can 8 go into 5? 0 times. Why? Because a bigger number cannot go into a smaller number. So we have a problem, y'all. We are unable to divide. But we have great news! There are options! Whenever you are unable to divide because the denominator is bigger than the numerator, you can first add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. So we'll add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator. Never forget, you always put back this decimal point in your answer. Put it directly above the decimal point in the dividend or the one that's in your numerator. Now we can continue dividing. How many times can 8 go into 50? Because after adding the 0, our numerator now looks like 50, yes? So how many times can 8 go into 50? Well, 8 can go into 50, 6 times. But if you aren't sure, we're going to use our list of multiples to help us, yes? 50 would be where? 50 would be between 48 and 56. Yes? So we will count all the multiples that come before 50. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Note we only count the multiples. We do not include the 50. We only count the multiples that come before 50, yes? So 8 can go into 50 only 6 times. All right, after we divide, we are going to multiply. 8 times 6 is 48. We subtract. After you multiply, you subtract. Go step by step. I'm going to regroup here. 10 take 8 will give us 2. We have no more numbers to bring down, so this 2 is a remainder. Uh-oh. What happened? We cannot divide because there was a remainder. Don't panic. We have options. If you are unable to divide because there is a remainder, you have 2 options. You can either add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator, then continue dividing, or if there is already a decimal point, you'll just add a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. We already have a decimal point here, so we add a 0, only a 0, and continue dividing. How are you feeling? Come on, man. Pump me up. Cheer me on. Come on. All right, let's divide. After adding the 0, we now have 20. How many times can 8 go into 20? Well, 8 can go into 20 2 times. But if you aren't sure, yes, if you aren't sure, we can use our list of multiples to help us. Where would 20 be? 20 would be between the 16 and the 24. So we will count only the multiples that come before 20 to help us. 1 multiple, 2 multiples. So 8 can go into 20 only 2 times. After dividing, we are going to multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. After multiplying, we are going to subtract. If we subtract, we're going to regroup. And we get 4. Yes? But there is a problem, y'all. Do you see the problem? Yes. This 4 is a remainder because we have no more numbers to bring down. But we have options. Since there is already a decimal point, we'll only add a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. Add a 0. The goal is to divide until your remainder is 0. So keep those zeros in your back pocket. Keep the decimal point as well, yes? And whenever it's necessary, bring them out. Bring them out. Bring it. This is fun stuff, man. Come on. Woo! All right. Now, after adding the 0, we have 40. So we divide. How many times can 8 go into 40? 8 can go into 40 5 times. But if you aren't sure, don't worry about it. You can use your list of multiples to help you. Yes? 40 is right here. So we will count until we get to 40 to figure out how many times 8 can go into 40. Let's count. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So 8 can go into 40 5 times. After dividing, we are going to multiply. 8 times 5 is 40. After multiplying, we subtract. 40 take 40 is 0. Woo! Look what happened. Our remainder is officially 0. Job well done. How are you feeling? Man, come on, man. This is fun stuff. This is fun stuff. We're not going to stop dividing until our remainder is 0. Don't forget that. Woo! So, our final answer here is 0.625 or 625 thousandths. 5/8 converted to a decimal is 0.625 or 625 thousandths. How are you feeling? You guys have to cheer me on. Come on. Get some pom-poms, get some balloons, get a whistle, get a horn, and let's have a party. Come on. Let's have a party. I don't want you guys just sitting there shaking your head. I want you guys to get involved. Come on. All right. I am going to do one more, and then I'll give you guys a chance to shine, because I know whenever you guys are working with me, you are always eager to prove to your parents and your grandparents and your aunties and your uncles that you have mastered the concept. So we're going to work one more, and then I will give you guys a chance to shine. So we want to convert 7 over 200, or 7 200s. Woo! To a decimal. Exciting stuff. So don't panic. What does the rule say? To convert a decimal to a fraction, to convert a fraction to a decimal, yes, to convert a fraction to a decimal, you will simply divide the fraction's numerator by the fraction's denominator. Let's get it going, y'all. Let's go. Oh, let me get some space here. Let's get some space. Did I change anything? Let's see. So the 200 goes outside. The denominator is always outside, yes? Let me get some space, man. Sorry. Let me get some space. Yes. So the denominator is always outside, and your numerator goes inside the house. Big numbers, right? Big numbers. Fun stuff, though. Before we begin to divide, you can always use multiples of the denominator to help you divide. So we list some multiples of 200. We have 200. What else do we have? 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200. We can stop there, I think. Yes? Don't panic. It's fun stuff. Let's go. We're going to divide first, yes? How many times can 200 go into 7? It can't happen, because a bigger number cannot go into a smaller number. So 200 cannot go into 7. So we'll put a 0. Meaning 200 can go into 7 0 times. Uh-oh. What should we do? We are unable to divide. We have options. Whenever you are unable to divide, your first option is to always add a decimal point and a 0 to your numerator. After adding up decimal point, don't forget, put it on top of the house. You don't want to forget that there will be a decimal point in your answer. Yes? After adding the decimal point and the 0, we can continue dividing. After adding this point and the 0 now, our numerator looks like 70. How many times can 200 go into 70? Uh-oh, it can happen again. Because again, a bigger number cannot go into a smaller number. So 200 can go into 70 0 times. Uh-oh. Ooh, we can divide. We have options. Since we have already added a decimal point and a 0, yes, we're going to do what? Simply add a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. So we'll put a 0 here. Our numerator now is 700. Looks like 700, yes? So how many times can 200 go into 700? Well, 200 can go into 700 3 times, yes? If you're unsure, let's use our list of multiples to help us. 700 would be between 600 and 800. So we count all the multiples that come before 700, yes? 1, 2, 3. 3, yes? So 200 can go into 700 3 times. After dividing, we are going to multiply, yes? 200 times 3 is 600. Yes? After multiplying, we are going to subtract 0, 0, 100. Uh-oh. What happens now? Yes? What happens now? We have 100 here. It's very tempting to say, Sion, this 100 is our remainder because there are no more numbers to bring down. What are we going to do? Don't panic. Don't panic. Whenever there is a remainder and we are unable to divide, we have options. Again, since we have already added a decimal point, we'll only add a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. After adding the 0, we now have 1,000. So we can divide. How many times can 200 go into 1,000? Well, 200 can go into 1,000 5 times. If you aren't sure, use your list of multiples to help you. Yes? 1,000 is right here. So we'll count until we get to 1,000 to figure out how many times 200 can go into 1,000. Yes? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So 200 can go into 1,000 5 times. After dividing, we are going to multiply. 200 times 5 is 1,000. After multiplying, we subtract. Now we get 0. So our remainder is 0. So we are finished dividing. Yes? Our final answer is 0.035 or 35 thousandths. How are you feeling? This is fun stuff. This is exciting stuff. Come on. Now, guess what time it is? It is your turn to shine. Come on. It's your turn to shine. Hey, your turn to shine. Come on. Come on, my friends. Now you get a chance to shine. So I want you guys to convert 3/15 to a decimal. You're going to pause the video. Yes, pause the video. Give it a try and then come back and let's see if we get the same answer. If you need to, you can go watch the previous examples. Yes, master it, come back and try this one. Yes, you got this. You got this, Caden. You got this, Christian. You guys got it. Let's go. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. I know you guys have all gotten the correct answer, but still, let's work it to make sure. Yes, let's see. So we want to convert 3/15 to a decimal. So the rule says we will simply divide the fractions numerator by the fractions denominator. Yes? We're going to set up our house. The denominator always go outside and your numerator is inside. Before you begin dividing, if you need to, if you want to, you can use the multiples of the denominator to help you divide. So let's list a few multiples of 15. 15, 30, 45, 60. We don't need a whole lot. We can stop at 60. Let's divide. How many times can 15 go into 3? It can't happen. It's 0 times. Why? Because a bigger number cannot go into a smaller number. So we cannot divide because the denominator is bigger than the numerator. We have options. You always have options. Our first option is to always add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator. So we'll add a decimal point and a 0. Don't forget, after adding a decimal point, put a point directly above it in your answer. You never want to forget that there's going to be a decimal point in your answer. Yes? Now, after adding the point and the 0, our numerator now looks like 30. Or our dividend now looks like 30. So we can divide. How many times can 15 go into 30? Well, 15 can go into 30 2 times. If you aren't sure, use your list to help you. 30 is right here. So you count until you get to 30 to figure out how many times 15 can go into 30. 1 time, 2 times. So 15 can go into 30 2 times. After dividing, we are going to multiply. 15 times 2 is 30. After multiplying, we subtract. We get all zeros. We have no more numbers to bring down, so we're done. Our remainder is 0. So we're done. our final answer is 0.2 or 2/10. So 3/15 converted to a decimal is 0.2 or 2/10. Give yourself a big pat on the shoulder for getting the answer correct. Very good job. Very nice job. We're going to do one more. This one right here is for the championship belt. One more. I want you guys to convert 1/8 to a decimal. Yes? Pause the video. Give it a try. You got this. Yes? Follow the rules. Pause the video, give it a try, then come back and let's see if we get the same answer. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. I can see the confidence in your faces. And I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, we want to convert 1/8 to a decimal. So the rule says, if you want to convert a fraction to a decimal, you will simply divide the fraction's numerator by the fraction's denominator. We will use long division to help us, yes? So, let us set up our problem. The denominator always goes outside and the numerator goes inside. Yes? Before you begin dividing, like always, if you want to, you can list the multiples of the denominator to help you. Yes? So let's list the multiples of 8. The multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. We can stop there, yes? Now, let's divide. How many times can 8 go into 1? Can't happen. Cannot happen. So, 0 times. 8 can go into 1 0 times, or 8 cannot go into 1 because 8 is bigger than 1. And a bigger number cannot go into a smaller number. So, we are unable to divide because the denominator is bigger than the numerator. But we have options. We have options. We can add a decimal point, add a 0 to the numerator, then continue dividing. But don't forget, after adding the decimal point in the numerator, make sure you put a decimal point directly above it in your answer. You never want to forget that a decimal point should be in your answer, yes? Now, after adding that point and the 0, our numerator now looks like a 10. So we can divide. How many times can 8 go into 10? 8 can only go into 10 one time. If you aren't sure, use your list of multiples to help you. 10 would be between the 8 and the 16. So you'll count all the multiples that come before the 10. Well, there's only one multiple that comes before the 10. So 8 can only go into 10 one time. Yes? After dividing, we are going to multiply. 8 times 1 is 8. If we subtract 10 and 8, we will get 2. We have no more numbers to bring down here. So this 2 is a remainder. Remember, the goal is to divide until the remainder is 0. So we have options. We can add a decimal point and a 0 to the numerator, or we can add a 0 to the numerator, then continue dividing. Since there's already a decimal point, we will only add a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. Yes? After adding the 0, look what happens. We now got a 20, so we can divide. How many times can 8 go into 20? 8 can only go into 20 2 times. Again, if you aren't sure, use your list of multiples to help you. 20 would be where? Between the 16 and the 24. So you can count all the multiples that come before 20. 1, 2. Only 2 multiples come before 20. So 8 can go into 20 2 times. After dividing, you are going to multiply. 8 times 2 is 16. After multiplying, we subtract. We're going to regroup here. And we get 4. But again, we have no more numbers to bring down, so this 4 is a remainder. We do not want a remainder. Our remainder has to be 0. Yes? So what do? We have options. Since there's already a decimal point, we're going to add a 0 to the numerator and continue dividing. After adding that 0, we now have a 40. We can divide. Yes? How many times can 8 go into 40? 5 times. If you are unsure again, you can always use your list of multiples to help you. 40 is right here. So we will count until we get to 40 to figure out how many times 8 can go into 40. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8 can go into 40 5 times. After dividing, we are going to multiply. 8 times 5 is 40. We subtract. After multiplying, you subtract, you get 0. Oh, our remainder is 0. So we're done. Our final answer is 0.125 or 125 thousandths. Very good. Very good. Come on. Come on. Dap me up. Give me a high five. Fun stuff. Very good. Woo! This was a fun video. Yes? I really hope you guys enjoyed my video. I really hope you guys will find it helpful. Yes? Until next time, enjoy your math homework and your math practice. See you.